something that I wrote down in, what day was it? It was 10th of October, 2022, this year. Stop holding them in a particular shape. Stop bracing yourself for how you think they're going to be. Release them from the shape you're holding them in. So what this means in decoded language, you probably get the drift anyway, is we all have a certain perception of people, how we think they are going to act and behave based upon past ways and times and experiences where they have acted and behaved in a certain way. And what takes place is dysfunctional patterns from us and the other person intertwine. So when we go into a scenario, I've actually watched Steve and all of his mates do this. They've booked a trip away, and everyone actually even said, oh, this is what this person's going to do, that's what that person's going to do. And so that's what it means by holding them in a particular shape. You have it's almost like predictive text. You predict what they are going to do, say, behave, and act, which means you're in your own predictive text. You are in your own predictive way of preempting, going, oh yeah, that's how they're going to be. Oh yeah, that's how they're going to act. Oh yeah, that's how they're going to respond. But what you don't see is that you're a part of that way that they behave and act, if that makes sense. So the reason why this came up in my coaching session, it was about the way that, and I've spoken about this quite a few times, it's a way that I can often hold the shape of my stepdaughters, particularly as they go through hormonal changes. And what I tend to do, like I wrote here, stop bracing yourself for how you think they're going to be. So because I hold them in a particular shape, they're going to be like this, they've just finished school, they're going to be like that, they're going to be tired, they're going to be grumpy, they're going to be X, they're going to be Y. So because I've held them in that shape and put them in that cookie cutter and predictive text them, now I go into, okay, well, how do I have to be in order to be okay because of the shape that I'm holding them in? Now, I hear your rebuttal. You're like, yeah, but Kat, this person always behaves that way. This person always acts like that. This person is stock standard, 1, 2, 3. That's how they're going to behave. I get it. But my point here, and the point that I was made too, re-reminded when I was with my coach, was how do you behave to contribute to that? Right? So if my stepdaughters come in, or one of them comes in and they're in a like, hey, how's your day? What's up? Did you eat all your lunch? So if I know that they are going to do that, then I'm bracing myself for, okay, they're going to be in a bad mood. I'll just not bother asking them questions, or I'll ask them the same lot of questions and then reprove to myself that that's the shape that they're in, right? So when we are not willing to budge ourselves, but then we are willing to project our view and shape onto another person, we're no better. You know what I mean? And this is where taking personal responsibility goes to a whole nother fucking layer. A whole nother layer. I can think of a plethora amount of people in my life where I'm like, yep. You're going to behave like this. You're going to fuck me off. You're going to trigger me. You're going to say this, and I'm going to behave like that. And because you're going to behave like that, now I'm going to act like this. I'm not even going to bother with you. I'm going to put the walls up towards you. How is that fucking good for anyone? Now, I hear the rebuttal too, but why do I always need to take the high road? Why do I always need to shift myself or tweak myself? Why can't they? Well, if you imagine everyone on the planet having that perspective, literally God, universe, Allah, Buddha, force, whatever you want to call it, help us. That ain't fucking okay. To have that, well, why should I? Why can't they? That just transports you back to being a child. You know, like when I pull up my stepdaughters, or Steve pulls up one of them, and the other one goes, yeah, but what about her? Or what about this? And what about that? Well, what about that? You be responsible. You be accountable for how you act, for how you behave, for how you show up. Now, I get it. Being responsible and personally accountable can get pretty fucking boring. Can get pretty taxing. And sometimes you're going to be human and be like, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to do that. And you know what? Cool, go for it. But let me ask you, as you do that, all I'm going to ask you is watch the outcome. Watch the outcome. Watch how you feel. Watch how other people behave, or that other person behaves, that you're holding them in a certain shape. And notice like the vibe going on. Then notice how you feel after that person leaves. Like in last week's episode, how do you resolve that? How do you resolve that pain or that inner conflict? You go, oh, fuck, I told you they were going to behave like that. That's why I'm in a bad mood. That's why I'm like this. That's why I'm like that. I'm going to go and eat chocolate. I'm going to go and drink. I'm going to go and smoke. I'm going to go and numb out. You know, it all ties in together. It all ties in together. And so that's okay. Like if you choose to be human and not like fucking care for a moment and not take, so call it the high road, and be personally responsible, no worries. Make it an experiment. Make it an experiment. That's what I do. That's what I do. Although, you know, most of the time I'm like, nah, I don't want to experiment, because it's all going to just feel shit. And I don't want to feel shit, and I don't want to feel not proud of myself, and I don't want to feel guilt that I'm carrying around because I didn't respond in XYZ way. You know, I'd rather be personally responsible and feel better. You know? So I want you to think about some of the people in your life where you are holding them in a certain shape. And like I wrote here, I'm going to read it out again. Stop holding them, big underline, air quotes, italics, bold, in a particular shape. Stop bracing yourself for how you think they're going to be. Release them from the shape you're holding them in. And then here's the kicker. Meet them where they're at. Meet them where they're at. Not where you think they're going to be at. Meet them where they're at. And what that does is it creates a little bit of space. A little bit of space for a little bit of something different. A little bit of room for, all right, maybe I could show up like this or show up like that. When you meet them where they're at, as opposed to how you think they're going to be. I used to do that a lot with my parents when we'd go over there for Sunday night dinner. This is when I was quite, you know, immature in this whole way of life. I would hold my parents in okay, mum's going to be that way, dad's going to be that way, so I'm going to brace myself by going, I need to be the bridge. I need to be the one that dispels the energy that needs to cut through whatever type of energy is between them. If they're going to be in a bad mood, if they're going to be like this, and if dad's had a busy day, then he's going to be like that. Or if he's had to fix things around the house, and maybe he's going to be in a bad mood, and then mum's going to be quiet. So in order to brace myself for that, then I need to come in and be the happy one, or try and smush up dad, or check that mum's okay and overextend myself. That's what I mean by bracing yourself. And so then what happens is you start to act out of whack. You start to act out of alignment. And what you're probably going to do is blame them. And personal responsibility, self-responsibility is not really a fan of blaming others, of being a victim. And it's okay to, like I said, to have those human feelings, to be frustrated, to be annoyed, to express that too. Express that in a way that is safe and that's not going to be of harm to anyone. Journal it out. Find someone who actually is a safe space where you can voice that and is going to be able to go, okay, cool, all right, you've had your wang, now what do you want to do about it? And no different to, like I said, with my parents, I just had to realize, like, stop holding them in the shape that, yes, I have grown up with. Yes, that I will predictive text them in, because 9 times out of 10, that's how they have been. But if I continue to perceive them that way and see them that way, then how is anything going to shift? How can I just meet them where they are at, so that when I walk into their home, I'm like, oh, cool, that's where dad is at, that's where mum is at, and this is where I'm at, and leave a bit of open space for how am I going to choose to be, rather than, like I said, predictive texting to how, okay, well, this is how I'm going to be because I know that's how they're going to act, you know? And it just takes away, like, blaming. It takes away being disappointed. It takes away righteousness. And, oh, see, I told you so. It takes that away. Like, that's just yuck. That's low fucking vibe shit, you know? And that's fine, like I said, to feel it. But staying there it doesn't contribute anything good, you know? It just really doesn't contribute anything good. So, like I said, I'd love you to consider who in your life you are holding in a pretty firm shape, you know? Like those cookie cutters, you're like, bam, that's how they fucking are. That's how they are. They're a dinosaur, or they're a star, or they're a love heart every fucking time, you know? Get them out of that shape. Let the fucking Play-Doh be Play-Doh, or the cookie dough be cookie dough for a moment, and just meet them where they're at. Because like I said, it gets you out of your own dysfunctional response, your dysfunctional behavior. And then there's opportunity. There's opportunity to shift, there's opportunity for growth and for evolution.